Imagine a town where you cannot get a job, buy bread, or even get a haircut unless you are wearing the right shoes. This is not a dystopian movie. This was a real place. The town of Herzogenaurach, Germany. They called it the town of bent necks. Why? Because before anyone spoke to you, they would look down at your feet to see whose side you were on. You were either with the Tigers or the Stripes. This town was the battleground for the vicious war between two brothers, Adolf and Rudolf Dassler. You know them better by the empires they built out of pure hatred, Adidas and Puma. Most founders start companies to get rich. These two started companies to destroy each other. For 60 years, they engaged in sabotage, spies, and betrayal. This is not just a story about sneakers. It is a story about how the bitterest feud in business history created the modern sports industry. And it all started in a laundry room. The Bond. It is the 1920s. Germany is crushed by the aftermath of World War I. The economy is in ruins. But in a small, cramped washroom in his mother's house, a quiet man named Adolf, Adi, is cobbling together shoes from scraps of military helmets and debris. Adi is an introvert, a craftsman. He is obsessed with one thing, making the perfect athletic shoe. He sleeps next to his workbench. He doesn't care about money, he cares about performance. But a great product is nothing without a salesman. Enter his older brother, Rudolf. Rudy is the opposite. He is loud, charismatic, a ladies' man and a brilliant extrovert. He can sell ice to an Eskimo. In 1924, they formed the Gebrüder Dassler Schuhfabrik, the Dassler brothers' shoe factory. It is the perfect marriage of skills. Adi makes the shoes, Rudy sells them. For 10 years, they are unstoppable. They are brothers, partners, and best friends. They work, drink, and live together in the same villa. Their greatest moment comes in 1936, the Berlin Olympics, when the authoritarian regime took control of Germany in the 1930s and its leadership began reshaping the country according to their ideology. One of their main goals was to promote a narrative portraying their population as uniquely advanced. State institutions, controlled media, and propaganda structures were used to spread this message, presenting it as a core element of national identity. Through large-scale campaigns, public events, and carefully crafted visuals, the authorities attempted to normalize these beliefs and influence both domestic audiences and foreign observers. The purpose was to strengthen internal loyalty and justify broader political decisions that the leadership intended to pursue. But the Dassler brothers take a risk. They drive to the Olympic Village and convince an American sprinter named Jesse Owens to wear their spiked shoes. Jesse Owens wins 4 gold medals. The world watches. The Dassler shoes are now legendary. Sales explode, money pours in, they have everything, success, fame, wealth. But beneath the surface, the poison is already spreading. The poison. It wasn't business that tore them apart. It was personal. While the brothers worked well together, their wives hated each other. They all lived under one roof in the family villa, and the tension was suffocating. Arguments over money, over parenting, over who worked harder. But the real breaking point was the war. As World War II escalated, the pressure on the factory increased. The Nazis took control. Both brothers joined the party, but their loyalties were questioned. Paranoia set in. The moment that likely killed their brotherhood forever happened in 1943. During an Allied bombing raid, Adi and his wife climbed into a bomb shelter where Rudy and his wife were already hiding. As the bombs fell, Adi reportedly said, "The dirty bastards are back again." He was talking about the Allied planes, but Rudy was convinced Adi was talking about him and his family. Rudy never forgave him. The distrust deepened. When Rudy was drafted into the army, and later captured by American soldiers, he was convinced that his own brother had betrayed him, that Adi had tipped off the Americans to get him out of the way and take control of the company. While Rudy sat in a prisoner of war camp, stewing in rage, Adi was at home, running the factory. The bond was shattered. The brothers were now enemies. The stab. The war is over. But the war between the Dasslers is just beginning. They realize they can no longer breathe the same air. They decide to split the company. But this isn't a normal corporate divorce. It is a violent amputation. They gather the employees and give them a choice. You can stay with Adi, or you can go with Rudy. The technicians and craftsmen stay with Adi. The sales team and marketers go with Rudy. They literally split the factory assets. They split the equipment. They even split the town. Adi names his new company Adidas, from Adi Dassler. Rudy tries to call his company Ruda, but it sounds clumsy. He changes it to Puma, the beast that strikes fast. They build their new headquarters on opposite sides of the Orak River. The river becomes the Iron Curtain of the shoe industry. The competition turns into a dirty war. If you worked for Puma, you didn't talk to anyone from Adidas. There were pubs for Puma employees and pubs for Adidas employees. Intermarriage between the two sides was forbidden. If you were a Puma man and you married an Adidas girl, you were ostracized. The brothers used spies to steal designs. They bribed athletes. In the 1960s and 70s, the battle moved to the global stage. It was the era of checkbook journalism in sports. They started paying athletes under the table to wear their shoes. Before the 1968 Olympics, Puma paid huge sums to sprinters. Adidas countered with even bigger bags of cash. At one point, Pelé, the greatest soccer player in the world, was at the center of a secret peace treaty. The brothers agreed. Nobody signs Pelé. He is too expensive. It will bankrupt us both. But Rudy couldn't help himself. He broke the pact. He paid Pelé to tie his shoelaces right before the opening whistle of the World Cup final. The cameras zoomed in. The world saw the Puma stripe. Adi was furious. The war raged on, fueled by pure spite. The verdict. So, who won? In terms of pure numbers, Adidas became the larger giant. Adi's focus on product innovation gave him the edge in the long run. Today, Adidas is the second largest sportswear manufacturer in the world. Puma is massive, but it is the smaller brother. But the personal cost was absolute. Adolf and Rudolf Dassler never spoke again. For nearly 30 years, they lived in the same town, worked a mile apart, and ignored each other's existence until the day they died. When Rudolf died in 1974, the priest asked Adi to attend the funeral. Adi refused. He sent a small note, but he would not stand by his brother's grave. 4 years later, Adi died. They are buried in the same cemetery in Herzogenaurach. But even in death, they are petty. Their graves are located at opposite ends of the cemetery, as far apart as physically possible. Outro. The Dassler brothers created an industry worth billions. They gave us the modern concept of sports marketing. Without their hatred, Michael Jordan probably wouldn't have a shoe deal today. Competition drives innovation, but in this case, the fuel was not ambition, it was resentment. They conquered the world, but they died alone, separated by a river of their own making. Was building an empire worth losing your brother? Let me know in the comments. Are you Team Adidas or Team Puma? And if you want to know about another family empire destroyed by greed and murder, click this video about the House of Gucci. You won't believe what the ex-wife did.